We are going to be discussing relative frequencies. Relative frequencies are found by taking each frequency and dividing it by n, the total number of data points in a data set. Here again is our Math Concepts Chapter 1 and 2.1 quiz scores frequency table. All the scores are listed here and their corresponding frequencies. We are now going to take this information and create a relative frequency table. Now you need to have a title. The only difference in this title, which is extremely important, is that you have what n equals. And remember, if you don't have what n equals, you can just take the frequency table, add up all these numbers, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 4 plus 2, get 15, and that's what n equals. It's very important that that is listed in the relative frequency table. Here we have all the scores listed. And then to determine the relative frequency, what we do is we take the frequency of the score 1, which is 1, and we divide it by n, which is 15. So it's 1 divided by 15, which is 6.7%. We do the same thing for a score of 5. It has 1, so it's going to be 6.7%. The 6 has a frequency of 1 divided by 15. It has a relative frequency of 6.7%. For 7, it has a frequency of 2, so we're going to go 2 divided by 15, which is 13.3%. A score of 8 has a frequency of 4, so we go 4 divided by n, which is 15, for a relative frequency of 26.7%, which is the same for a score of 9. And a score of 10 has a frequency of 2, so 2 divided by 15 is 13.3%. Now this is how you create a relative frequency table. Now once you have a relative frequency table, you can make a relative frequency bar graph. Now in a relative frequency bar graph, you have a title, you have your axes labeled, the scores are listed on the x-axis, and on the y-axis what we have is we have all the percentages. So this is the percentage of students receiving a score, and if you see here the relative frequency for a score of 1 is approximately 6.7%. There are no scores for 2, 3, or 4, so that would be 0%. 5 and 6 has 6.7 again. 7 has about 13.3%, and 8 and 9 have 26.7% as their relative frequency, and 10 has 13.3% as its relative frequency. So that's how you make a relative frequency bar graph. So just remember, when you're looking for relative frequency bar graphs, you are dealing with percentages. Also, it's very important in the title that the data set, the size of the data set is in the title. So n equals 15. That needs to be there on the bar graph as well as the relative frequency table. And why this is important, it allows anyone who wishes to compute the actual frequencies. For example, if 13.3% of the 15 students scored a 10 on the quiz, the actual frequency would be, you take 13% in the form of a decimal, and how you do that is just move it back here. So it's 0.133 times 15. And what you're going to get is 1.99999. Now what that really is 2. So that means the actual frequency of people who scored a 10 would be 2 students.